Hey everyone, welcome to our lesson on writing quadratic functions in vertex and standard form. We're going to look at each of these forms first, and then we're going to take a look at a couple of examples of how to convert from one form to the next. So when we're talking about standard form for a quadratic, you're going to see the terms listed in order by degree from greatest to least. So you've got ax squared plus bx plus c, and the a, b, and c are some number coefficients for those. And then vertex form is the form where you can see your vertex in the spots of h and k. So we're going to take a look at an example that converts our form in standard form to vertex. All right, so your strategy for that is to take the a, b, and the c that we looked at and use negative b divided by 2a first to find your x-coordinate. This will be your h term in your expression of vertex form. And then you're going to plug that back in to your original equation, and what will come out will be the y, will be the k for your vertex form. And then you're just going to fill those two into your equation. And if you do have an a value in standard form, you're also going to plug that back in to vertex form. So I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so we've got 2x squared plus 4x plus 1. So we've got our a and our b and our c. And so the first thing we want to do is find negative b over 2a. So make sure you do take negative of your b value. You want to get all the signs in there, over 2 times your a value. So I like to put parentheses where the b and the a would be placed so that I get all the signs right. Alright, so this is going to give me negative 4 over 4, which simplifies to negative 1. So we have just found our x-coordinate of the vertex, which is h. Alright, back into the original equation. We now need to substitute this value of negative 1 in everywhere that we see an x. So we're going to place it in 2 spots here. We're going to multiply out according to the right order of operations and then simplify what we have. We have 2 times positive 1, negative 1 squared will be positive 1, plus 4 times negative 1, which gives us minus 4, and then plus 1. So 2 minus 4 plus 1 gives us another value of negative 1. So actually in this case, our h and our k ended up being negative 1. So we now need to plug that into vertex form because this process was us changing from standard form to vertex form. So this is our last step. Here is vertex form again, so we can remember what that looks like. Y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So we have 3 things to put in here. We want to put in our a value from the original equation, which is 2. And we want to put in our h and our k, which were both negative 1 in this case. So we're going to have y equals 2 times x minus, remember our h value was negative 1. So I'm going to put that little negative 1 in parentheses just to make sure that I don't lose track of any of these signs. And then plus my k value, I'm going to do the same thing. That was also negative 1. And you want to simplify this and make sure it looks good and you've got all the signs taken care of. So what we could do inside the parentheses here is change this to a plus 1 for these 2 negative signs. And then outside we can go ahead and write minus 1. We don't have to put plus negative 1. We can simplify that to just be minus 1. So here is our finished vertex form for this original parabola. Alright, when we need to go from vertex form to standard form, we're going to take what we see and we're just going to multiply out everything that we see. So you're going to see an a times a group x minus h squared plus k. So you're going to take the right order of operations and do the group first, raised to the power of 2, then distribute in your a value, and then simplify anything you can by adding like terms. So let's take a look at that. First thing we see is that we have a group of x plus 2 squared that needs to be taken care of first. So I'm going to come and expand that using FOIL. X plus 2 squared means that I have x plus 2 times another x plus 2. So I'm going to have to FOIL that piece of it, and then I'm going to distribute in my 5, and then finally subtract my negative 1. So let's work on foiling the x plus 2 squared. The FOIL method is called FOIL because it's taking the first terms and multiplying, and then the outer, and then the inner, and then the last. So FOIL, F-O-I-L. So x times x gives me an x squared. X times 2 gives me a 2x. So I just did the first and the outer. Now I'm going to do the inner and the last. 2 times x gives me another 2x. And then 2 times 2 gives me 4. Okay, all of this is going to have to be multiplied by 5, and then I'm going to subtract my 1 at the end. Within this group, there are some things that can come together, these like terms. There's 2x and another 2x, so that will become 4x. So on our next screen, so we're going to continue our example here. We're going to rewrite what we had. Remember that our 2x terms came together and became this middle 4x. So here we are. The next step is to distribute your 5 to every term in that group. So we'll have 5 times x squared plus 5 times 4x, so 20x, plus 5 times 4, and finally our minus 1. And we can see that the 20 and the 1 can come together. They are like terms, so your very last step is going to be to put those together, which will give you 19. So your quadratic equation in standard form will be y equals 5x squared plus 20x plus 19. You want to make sure that you do have it in order from greatest to least by power so that it will truly be standard form. So we saw how to take an equation from vertex form to standard form for a quadratic, and also from standard form to vertex form. So this concludes our lesson on writing quadratic functions in vertex and standard form.